I'm Nick Quinn and welcome to the first edition of Australia's newest racing show, Chewin the Fat. We have a great show lined up today. We're going to be joined in the studio by Aquanita trainer Robert Smurden. Our man Edward Sadler, who's renowned as a race caller, will be taking us around the traps. We'll be previewing all the group racing from Sydney and Melbourne and making sure you find a winner. And most of all, we'll be checking in on all the international raiders for both the BMW Caulfield Cup and the Emirates Melbourne Cup. But before we get to those things, it gives me great pleasure to welcome my co-host, Natalie Hunter. Natalie, how are you?
Very well, and I'm excited to be here, Nick, and very excited that spring's finally in the air. Can you see me in all my colours here?
You do look like you've got a little bit of a jockey ensemble going.
I do look a bit like a jockey. I'm actually really excited about the Dato Tan Chin Nam at the Valley on Saturday. Yeah, it's a tongue twister of a race. Please don't make me say it again. But I'm excited about that at the Valley on Saturday, and I've even got a tip for you.
Well, hold that thought, Nat, because we're just going to cut to a break. But when we return, we'll be joined on the couch by Robert Smurden. And remember, you're watching Australia's newest racing program, Chewing the Fat, thanks to our friends at Sportingbet Australia and Victorian Stallions Television.
Sportingbet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sportingbet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sportingbet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
Increase your chances of winning by nominating your yearling to Australia's richest incentive scheme, Super Vobis. Super Vobis guarantees you higher rewards on the racetrack and makes your yearling more attractive to prospective purchasers. With over $13 million of incentives on offer every season, Super Vobis is the colour of money. Nominations close February the 1st, so for further information, call Super Vobis on 03 9258 4694 or visit the website.
It's known to produce some legendary races.
Coming up to the turn, it's far left, well out in front of the Cox Plate. The crowd are cheering. Far left's going away.
It's given us some of racing's most legendary finishes ever.
Bone Crusher the outside, and Bone Crusher races into equine immortality. 1.5.
And it's known to set the pace for legendary style. Be part of this legendary event this year. The Tats Cox Plate, the race where legends are made.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. Now, a real touch of spring is in the air this Saturday at Moonee Valley with some of the big stars stepping out. And one of the people who's really starring at the moment is Aquanita trainer Robert Smurden. Robert, welcome to the couch here at Chewing the Fat.
Thanks, Natalie. Good to be here.
Now, you're really on fire at the moment. You're equal leader in the Trainers Premiership and a phenomenal strike rate.
We've had a really good start to the season. Probably the jumpers have done us a bit of justice there, like Black and Bent. Was 100% strike rater, but we have had a good start across the board, so hopefully we can keep it going, but the spring's a tough time.
And you've got a few bullets going forward to the spring horses that came out at Sandown Wednesday. The Kit Kat Kid looked ultra impressive. What's the plan there?
He's going to have a short breather at Peter Morgan's at Whittlesea, so he comes back for the 1200 metre 3-year-old race on Caulfield Guineas Day, then 2 weeks later another 1200 metre 3-year-old race Moonee Valley Cox Plate Day. So there his immediate aims.
And you did touch on the success of the superstar Black and Bent. Now, is there a chance we'll be seeing him in the Melbourne Cup?
Well, it's a bit of a pipe dream, but he's going to run in the Naturalism Saturday week. Then he'll progress to... He's got 3 options. He can go to the Ansett Cup at Mornington on Grand Final Day, or the Bart Cummings at Flemington the following day, but also the Metropolitans on the table as an option too. So he'll run in one of those 3, and from there we'll see whether we justify going forward.
Is he the most versatile horse you've ever trained?
Well, he probably would be. I've had plenty of horses jump and be successful over jumps on the flat, but not at his level. I mean, he's capable at group level on the flat and just a star over the jump. So he's probably the most prominent of them.
Would he be your leading Melbourne Cup chance at this stage?
Yeah, we've got 3 or 4 nominated, but I suppose you'd have to say he's the leading contender.
And is there a horse that's going along nicely that you might be able to say to the Chewing the Fat viewers, maybe when it does bob up, to have a sneaky 5 each way on?
Well, I think the horse that won first up at Sandown, Chewin, I think he's a really useful stayer emerging. Each preparation he stepped up. I thought he'd run well over 1400, but I thought it was too short for him. But he only won narrowly, but Mark Zara said, I only did what I had to do to win on him, and he runs on Saturday at Moonee Valley. But I think while he'll run there, once he progresses to 2000 and beyond, I'm not quite sure where he fits in, but I think he's at least Country Cups class, and there's probably a stakes race through the spring that might have his name on it.
And he is your only runner on Saturday. Is there a few?
No, I've got Olympic Win and Love Fantastic as well, so we've got 3 there.
So you've got 3. What's your best chance?
Probably Chewin. I think he's really going well. It's not his right trip, but he's drawn well, he's down in the weights, and he can be very competitive again.
Okay, let's have a look at the Valley for Saturday. The track's currently bordering on dead, but rain is forecast, and the rail's true for the entire circuit, so a pretty even playing field for all concerned there on Saturday. The feature race is the Group 2 weight for age Dato Tan Chin Nam, my favourite little tongue twister. The stakes over 1,600 metres with 300,000 up for prize money. A traditional lead-up for the Tats WS Cox Plate, and the Mark Kavanagh, who we got you, is shooting for a historic 3 Datos in a row. Now, our man Edward Sadler caught up with Cav yesterday morning at Flemington.
Your main runner for the day in the Dato Tan Chin Nam is Hooby Got You, going for 3 Datos in a row. How did he come off the win in the listing last time?
Well, it was a good win, and he's improved a lot since then. We kept him up to the mark with the jump out last week at Werribee, and we're quite happy with him going into this race.
Nick, what did you make of this one?
Well, I think it's a benefit for Hooby Got You. I think he'll have little trouble getting the 3rd straight Dato win in a row. He's currently $1.55 with Sporting Bet Australia, which is a little bit skinny. I think you might get a little bit better than that on race day with their Maxi Div, which is best of 3 totes and starting price. Robert, what did you think?
Yeah, you couldn't go past him. He was good first up. He can only be fitter. He's got to be the horse they've all got to beat, and there's no reason he can't win 3 in a row. Would
he be your early Cox Plate fancy as well?
Yeah, he's among them, but it's going to get tougher when you get out to the 2000. And I think he's sort of better at the 1600 at this stage. But tomorrow's race looks ideal.
And the punters agree with Robert, and as you can see here with Sporting Bet Australia's market, Hooby Got You is $1.55 favourite, and the only other runner in single figure odds is Rekindled Interest. Edward Sadler's all with the team and I tipping Hooby Got You. But Nat, you said earlier you had one up your sleeve. Can you shed some more light on what that might be, please?
I do definitely have one up my sleeve. You mentioned Rekindled Interest there, and I did have a little spy out at Moonee Valley last Tuesday morning, and he tells me that Rekindled Interest ran the fastest 400 of the morning, and on the back of his huge first up, 2nd in the Ori Star, and then a solid 4th in the Memsey. And the fact that he's got a real liking for the track. So I think he could be a big player this spring. And in fact, Edward Sadler, who you talked about before, caught up with his trainer Jim Conlon on Tuesday morning. And here's what he had to say.
He worked over 6 furlongs, and he worked with Larry's Never Late, and they got home their last 600 metres. Finished it off strongly, pulled up very well in the wind. Everything seems good.
Robert, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would have thought that Rekindled Interest was the only horse that could probably challenge Hooby Got You. Very, very good last start and terrific first up. So, and a very talented horse. He showed that last year. So I'd have to agree with the thoughts there.
With a horse like Rekindled Interest, does it worry you that he does struggle to win, or do you think that once he does win, he'll probably put a few together?
No, I think he's just got to get his right set of circumstances. He's capable of winning. That doesn't bother me.
Excellent. Well, we now move on to race 8 at Moonee Valley, the Spotless Stock Stakes over 1,600 metres, where former New Zealander King's Rose is a clear $2.80 favourite. Did you see King's Rose first up, and what did you think, Robert?
Super impressive. I had a mare last start winner nominated for this race, but there's 3 mares there that made me miss the race, King's Rose, Pinker and Lady Lynette. So I think it's a pretty good field at the top end, but King's Rose does look a standout.
King's Rose is my early Cox Plate selection, and if we have a look at the Sporting Bet market for the race tomorrow, we can see that King's Rose is a clear favourite at $2.80, ahead of the horses that Robert mentioned, Pinka Pinka and Lady Lynette.
Well, I'm going to interrupt here and say that it is Pinka Pinka for me because I really like the name and I think she's in great form.
And you've got a pink pencil, so what could possibly go wrong?
Pink nails, so it's Pinka Pinka.
I can just see that now, blousing King's Rose in a photo finish. We move on to race 6, which is on paper maybe a 2-horse race between Crystal Lily and Culgrinda, which is the McEwen Stakes over 1,000 metres. Robert, have you had a chance to look at the Culgrinda Crystal Lily match race, or is there a third horse that takes your eye?
No, I don't think. I think those two stand out. Crystal Lily, I mean, she was awesome in the autumn. If it wasn't for Black Caviar, she would have had a sensational preparation. And Culgrinda, her 2 runs this prep have been enormous. So they look head and shoulders above the competition.
Would you rather be on the class factor, which is Crystal Lily, but first up from a spell, or Culgrinda, who probably hasn't got the runs on the board yet, but 2 runs under the belt for 2 ultra impressive wins?
Yeah, you could go either way. I mean, I don't know which one of them will win, but they're the standouts, so I'm not sure which way to go.
Just take them both take the Quinella and take them both in the quaddie, and you can't go wrong.
You'll be safe doing it.
This almost seems too easy, this punting caper. Our man Edward Sadler was out at track work during the week and caught up with some of the trainers such as Wayne Hawkes and Mark Kavanagh for their thoughts on their runners going into Saturday's meeting.
He had a couple of trials in Sydney. How did he come through those?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he had a couple of trials in Sydney and he's had a jump out down here in Melbourne, so you just got to hope they go hard, and he'll be sitting off them. He won't be too close to the speed machines because there's a fair bit of speed in the race. So truthfully, the harder they go, the better it is for us.
Star stablemare Crystal Lily resumes in McEwen Stakes over 1,000 metres. How's she come back from the break?
Couldn't be happy with the way she's come back. Her trial at Werribee the other day was great. She'll improve from the run, and most of her best form is at 1,200, not at the 1,000. So we know there's going to be take great benefit out of the run, and horses in this race have got a fantastic first up form. I think 9 of the 12 have won first up, so she's got she's in with a nice chance.
Clary Satin Shoes, your star filly galloped here this morning. Were you happy with the gallop?
Yes, I was. Really happy with her. She seemed to gallop well, handled the valley nice, which is the reason we come here. Lisa Cott rode her, and she was very happy with her. Said she's glad she came out and rode her because she's got gears, and you can sort of just control her a little bit and let her run along, but she was very happy with the horse. I was happy with her work, and Lisa was happy.
Here at Moonee Valley, you galloped Atomic Force. Take us through that.
Yeah, he worked nicely this morning. He doesn't overdo it on the track. He's a pretty casual worker, but he felt great. His action's good, and he should run a nice race. It's a tough race on Saturday, but expect him to run well again.
And do you think he'll take improvement out of that run at Caulfield last time?
Yeah, look, he was second up there, so he's coming up third up now, so he should be right at his peak.
In the Stock Stakes Midnight Martini, how'd she come through her last run?
Yeah, she was trapped a bit wide and worked home nice, and she's improved a lot from that. The mile will suit, so, she's a chance.
Platinum Passion, the Stock Stakes. What did you make of her run at Caulfield last time?
Yeah, I was just a tad disappointed with her. Thought she was going terrific going to the first run, and just thought that she just lacked a little bit of zip for her first run. So we're going to put blinkers on her this time and just see how we go.
In the Stock Stakes, Jalzar, who's won 3 of her last 4.
Yeah, good mare. She's been up since probably 12 months now, and very tough, genuine sort of mare. This is probably about the stronger grade she's been in, but drawing a barrier, and she'll give herself, she can be anywhere in the field, and she races all right at the Valley, so she's a genuine sort of chance.
Great work there, Edward. The interesting runner is definitely Happy Zero, who's a former Hong Kong galloper with John Moore, but now in the Hawks camp, and appears to have more gear than a drug lab for this Saturday, so that'll be very interesting. What are a few little gear changes that you like to tinker with in order to get a horse to improve?
Well, Nick, it sort of just depends on what different gear changes have different effects. I mean, you get a horse that's a bit casual, you put blinkers on them, but if a horse is a bit keen, they make them over race. So they can have a positive and negative effect on some horses, but there's many things that you can do to change horses. Probably the most common and most effective seem to be blinkers and tongue ties. I know when they first started to record all these gear changes, a study of the results showed that blinkers were the most significant. Blinkers on was the most significant gear change.
What's the most unusual gear change you can recall?
I think tail chain.
tail chain. Who was the genius that thought that'd be a good idea?
I don't know, but yeah, they use them for mares in season and it seems to be effective.
Fair enough. Well, I won't pot it then. I'm going to stick with Who Be Got You, King's Rose and Crystal Lily in the 3 feature races tomorrow. Nat, you'll be tipping satin shoes, I presume?
Oh, why is that, Nick?
Yeah, well, you know what girls are like with their shoes.
I do like shoes, but I am going to stick with Crystal Lily, and there's no need for those sexist comments. Well, that wraps up our Melbourne preview. Hopefully we've steered you in the direction of a winner or two, hopefully two. Hope to see you at the Valley on Saturday, and stay with us. When we return, we get an Access All Areas look at the Melbourne Racing Club BMW Caulfield Cup launch. This is Chewing the Fat.
Sportingbet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sportingbet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sportingbet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
There's never been a better time to enjoy all the new benefits of being a Moonee Valley member. Membership is great value, now with no nomination fee. And for only $230, you'll enjoy membership privileges and great racing, including the Tats Cox Plate and premium night racing. You'll receive a complimentary racebook and beverage at every meeting and have access to quality facilities and dining. Why wait? Ring 1300 797959 and become a Moonee Valley member today.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. The Melbourne Racing Club had its Gala BMW Caulfield Cup launch, and we sent the Chewing the Fat cameras along to take a look.
Melbourne Race Club have been great innovators in the past, and no exception this year. You've got a great chain of events for the punters and the spectators.
We've started a few initiatives already, but on Underwood Stakes Day, which is the 17th of September, it's free entry to everybody, and we're trying to get a big crowd there because Black Caviar is going to be there having an exhibition gallop in the lead into the Scalacci Stakes a couple of weeks later.
What are you looking forward to the most?
I think the fact that the carnival probably combines 3 of my favourite loves. I love the thrill of competition, I love horses, and I love fashion. So I'm pretty much in my element when it comes to spring racing carnival, and I love standing near the barriers and feeling the thunder of the horses run past, but also seeing all the ladies get frocked up in their finest, and obviously placing a bet here and there as well. So as I said, I'm in my element. Success
is no stranger to you, I guess, in the spring, but are there any particular horses you're looking forward to jumping on the back of this year?
Yeah, as you know, I ride for the Mark Kavanagh stable, and you know, we've got a good young bunch of horses coming through. Obviously, the Hoobie's still there, and we've got December Draw, who's on a Cups campaign. So, you know, there's those sorts of horses. There's a couple of really nice young ones, Atlantic Jewel and Celebrity Girl, who will be stepping out on Saturday. So, there's plenty there to keep me busy.
What are you looking forward to seeing most in regard to the horses?
I can't wait to see Black Caviar at Caulfield this year. I'm really looking forward to that.
You've done a great job, you and the club, in attracting some great international horses to the Cup this year. You must be absolutely ecstatic about that.
Oh, very, and looks like Tactician's definitely coming. Very excited that John Moore's bringing Mighty High from Hong Kong, and also a horse called Silver Grecian, who I've been trying to catch but keep missing every time he wins. But he's a very good horse, probably down for the Rupert Clark or the Toorak.
Now, it's early days, but have you got a tip for us for the Cup?
There's a horse called Booming out of New Zealand. I used to work for the guy who trains him, Jeff Lins. He's a very, very good stayer. He's about 50 to 1 for both Cups, and he's my horse.
Harris Tweed starts back in the Maccabee Diva. Can't wait to ride him. 2nd in the Caulfield Cup last year and 5th in the Melbourne Cup, and Murray Baker is really happy with how he's coming along. Saturday, well, you know, whatever he does this weekend, he's obviously going to improve on, but he's ticking over right. So, you know, can't wait to see where he progresses. And yeah, just I've actually got just 3 or 4 that are, you know, a chance to mix it with the best one. So we're looking forward to, you know, hopefully a big spring.
Helmet automatically looks the horse to beat at a mile. Smart Missile looks outstanding. Seaboy is outstanding. He'll be kept to sprint races. The one that really grabs my eye though is the Colin and Cindy Alderson train. That's the one. He's unbeaten in 2 starts. He looks very raw. And I think, you know, if you're trying to find one at big odds long range, he could be the one that becomes a really top-class galloper in the not-too-distant future. But the others are all established stars, and they should be able to maintain their form throughout the carnival.
Well, free entry to the Underwood Stakes and the chance to see the world's best sprinter Black Caviar work between races. What more could you want?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the fashions, what the men and the women are wearing, and also Sneaky Sound System are going to be there.
Does it get any better?
I don't think it does. All right, guys, we'd love to get your feedback on the show. You can email us at feedback@chewingthefat.com.au and let us know what you'd like to see more of, all that sort of thing. And there might even be a prize for Email of the Week. Make sure you follow us on Twitter @ChewingTheFatOz and also Facebook Chewing the Fat Racing. Don't go away. After this short break, Edward Sadler joins Nick and Robert on the couch as we head to Sydney to preview the Rose Hill meeting and the first Group 1 race meeting of the season, the Tooheys New Golden Rose, plus a great support card and go around the traps.
Can you feel the love? Can you feel the love? But it's Black Caviar by 2 lengths. Black Caviar, 2.5.
The nights are coming alive at the Valley during the Sporting Bet night racing season.
Sporting Bet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sporting Bet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sporting Bet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first 4. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sporting Bet.
Go Royal at Randwick this spring. Book now at ticketek.com.
Group 1 racing kicks off in Sydney on Saturday with the $1 million Golden Rose. They're racing on a good 3 with the weather fine and the rail out 2 metres. This could be a preview of things to come for not only the Caulfield Guineas but possibly the Cox Plate with the clash of the Anthony Cummings trained Smart Missile and Darley's Helmet, who wears the blinkers for the first time. Edward Sadler joins us to let us know what he thinks of the market.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nick. Yeah, really good race, top race, obviously the first Group 1 of the weekend, of the spring in fact. Smart Missile, no surprise, the favourite has come up $1.80 with Sporting Bet, ahead of Helmet at $4, and then third elect for the punters is Manawanui at $7.50. So they're all on Smart Missile there, Nick.
And Robert, we touched on Helmet having the blinkers for the first time. It's been widely said that that's Snowden's ace up his sleeve with this horse. What improvement do you think Helmet will show with the blinkers on?
Well, he's been a bit erratic, hasn't he? Under pressure, ducked out a couple of times, and if they keep him straight and make him a little more genuine, it could be significant.
We saw famously in his first campaign when he shied at the whip and nearly ran off the track. Is it a bit more of a risk, the blinkers on a horse that has got a few quirks?
I think the aim with that would be to have him focus a bit better and take those quirks out of his behaviour.
Is that a worry for you, though, from a punting perspective?
The only worry would be if he over-raced, but I think they would have taken that into consideration before they put him on. But I think they would have used him in track work, maybe even a trial, but they would have done their homework pretty well, and no doubt they wouldn't put him on if they didn't believe they were positive.
These are some of the best 3-year-olds from Sydney going around on Saturday. How do you line up the Sydney 3-year-olds compared to the Melbourne 3-year-olds?
Well, you've got a bit of a line through Smart Missile, Sepoy in the Todman Slipper trial. That's probably Sepoy being certainly the sprinting form. So I think these horses stand up as being as good as any of them, and particularly Smart Missile.
Nick, who are you going for in the Golden Rose?
I'm actually just going to take a Quinella. I'm not going to tip one to win. I'm going to get splinters from sitting on the fence, but it's impossible to tip against Smart Missile the way he won last start. But the fact that Helmet could just have so much improvement up his sleeve and could potentially be the better horse, more than happy just to take the Quinella, sit back, enjoy the race and cash in after the race. But Edward, I do believe you caught up with Darley's Paul Snowden about his thoughts, so let's have a look at that clip now.
He's got the blinkers on Saturday, and he's a very talented horse, as we know. He carried 59, gave Smart Missile 2 kilos, and was very much underdone first up. So he's going to take great improvement for that, and look out for him on Saturday.
Can he turn the tables on Smart Missile?
There's a big chance he can, yeah.
Well, there we have it. So who are you going for after seeing that, Edward?
Still sticking with Smart Missile, who was super impressive at his last start, of course. Glenn Boss compared him to Usain Bolt, and no one beats Bolt unless he false starts. So I'm going with Smart Missile ahead of Helmet.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing up that Usain Bolt false start. I'm still paying off the debt that caused me. And what about Natalie? Who did she settle on?
Nat's gone for a bit of a roughie, the third elect in the betting in a small field, Manamutanui, basically because the name reminds her of Hawaii, a favourite holiday place for her, and many others.
Yes, a very romantic destination from what I hear. The other group racing in Sydney tomorrow is the Group 2 Sebring Stakes and the Group 3 Kingston Town Stakes. So it's going to be a cracking 2 races there. Edward, have you got the markets in front of you there, mate?
Yeah, got the markets in front of me for both of these 2 races. I'll start off with the Sebring Sprint over 1,300 metres, formerly known as the Theo Marks. And I Love This City has come up at 320, ahead of Pinwheel, who beat I Love This City last time. Pinwheel's at 460. And just a quick look at the market for the Kingston Town. Coming up favourite there, Altius, the former Tony Vassal trained galloper, at 360.
And Robert, you would have had a lot to do with Altius in his early days when your Aquanita co-trainer Tony Vassal trained him. What do you recall about the horse?
Obviously there was great hopes for him early, and he started off his career really well, but he had a couple of issues. He had a breathing issue, which I believe has been corrected surgically, and also he had, a lot of value with him as a stallion prospect, but they've taken the decision to geld him, and his form at the moment is impeccable.
Did he show anything early doors to suggest he might be as good as the older 2 brothers, Alstrom and Arata son?
I didn't think so. What I saw of him, he was a talented horse, but I didn't see the same as what I'd seen in the other 2.
Just the one query for Altius with me, Nick, is the step up in distance. His last couple of runs have been over the 1,500. Not sure the extra distance will suit him.
Well, I disagree. I think he's one of the better bets of the program, but we'll see what happens. So, Edward, you've been around the traps this week. You've got plenty for us?
Yeah, plenty for us, as we've seen right throughout the show. Caught up with all the trainers throughout the week with the main contenders, plus also Warren Huntley. He told us about Recunded Interest Gallop at Moonee Valley. Ran 23.5 seconds for his final 400 metres in that track gallop with Larry's Never Late, and Larry galloped very well as well. So the 2 Jim Conlon runners are probably the biggest news for the week heading into Saturday from a punting perspective.
Well, I'm clearly in Altius's corner. What about you, Edward?
Thought it was a really open punting race, probably the best from the 3 features in Sydney. I think it's the best race to look at from a punting perspective. I've gone for a roughie, I've gone for Presido. I also really like Murian, he runs really well in Sydney. And Nat has gone for, in that race, Hidden Gem, so take my 2 with Nats and you might get a really good trifecta.
And if we do have a look at the sporting bet market for the race, we can see that Altius is a firm favourite at $3.30. But as Edward has touched on, there are plenty of chances, so if you can find the winner, you're going to be fully rewarded.
The other race to look at, obviously, Nick, also is the Sebring. We touched on that with the market before. Really good sprint race. Pinwheel and I Love This City, the 2 main contenders in it. And Nat's tip in that race was I Love This City from the Graham Begg stable, who apparently, according to social media, he's been galloping really well.
Social media, it is the way of the future. If that's how we get our market and market mail these days. If we have a look at the sporting bet market, we can see that I Love This City is a favourite at $3.80 to turn the tables on Pinwheel, who's $4.80. Last start, Pinwheel was a narrow victor, but the early money has come for the Gay Waterhouse trained Fast Clip, who's been $7 into $6.50 with Sporting Bet Australia. I think I'm going to jump on the I Love This City team, especially seeing Sporting Bet's Duncan McRae does own a share, so we'll keep Duncan and the team happy and cheer home I Love This City.
Just a little bit surprised actually with Fast Clip that he's at that sort of price. I would have thought he's a horse that needs further, so surprised to see him at that sort of quote, Nick.
Whenever a Gay Waterhouse horse is back though, you've got to respect the money.
Now Robert, got one question I need to ask you, just to clarify something. Was it only one time that you had the kids in the dryer?
Well, actually, one of the girls had her sister in the dryer, and I saved the situation, Edward.
So how do you save the situation, Robert?
Just get the kid out of the dryer.
That does it.
That's it. Now, Edward, or Craig Hutchinson Jr. as you're now known, I believe you've been around the traps this week and you might have stumped one of our leading trainers.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. Got one of our leading Flemington trainers on the hop today. Mike, you've always had a good eye for a filly. How do you rate Jennifer Hawkins?
Yeah, great, yeah. She's probably the same as Richard Callender does, I suppose.
Sporting Bet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sporting Bet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sporting Bet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sporting Bet.
Introducing Equiano, the king of speed. A dual Group 1 winner of the Royal Ascot's King Stand Stakes over 1,000 metres. Rated 127 plus on time form and third on the 2010 World Sprint Rankings, 2 below Black Caviar and just 1 below Star Spangled Banner. By sensational stallion acclamation, the Rory's Jester of the UK and now Sire of Sires with leading first season son, Dark Angel, with a fee of just $15,000.
The Emirates Melbourne Cup is fast approaching and nominations were recently announced. Of course, Chewin the Fat was there and caught up with Racing Victoria's international recruiter, Lee Jordan, for the lowdown on who's coming.
Lee, the nominations out today for the Melbourne Cup and 25 international entries. I know you've worked very hard. You must be excited with that.
Yeah, with the nominations back a month, Simon, it's a bit different to try and compare them with other years in that previous years we've probably had over 40, so we've got to compare it to the first acceptance stage, which is usually around about this stage, and last year we had 25, so we've got exactly the same, so I think it's a good result. We've got a good cross-section from England, Ireland, France and also Hong Kong.
Has it been a hard road to hoe this year to get the horses over here?
Well, I think quarantine's always an issue. Quarantine, the length of travel, and obviously no incentives. They have to work it hard. They've got to run in the first 10 to get a return. So it's always difficult. But the thing is, the race is worth $6 million. It's a 2-mile handicap on turf. It's a unique race. I think we're always going to get international runners.
On the back of American and his rich cultural background, a lot of new countries represented here this year.
Yeah, well, I think he's paved the way in France. There's definitely no doubt him winning in for France, trained by Alain Roy de Prey, has definitely got the interest level in France, and we've got another horse that's very serious about coming up called Dunaden, trained by Mikel Delzangles from France, and I know when I was there's a few other trainers that had horses that were interested, so I think the French are definitely going to participate a lot more in the race over the coming years.
Sir Michael Stout and Ned Dunlop both with noms this year too. That must be great to have trainers of that ilk coming over.
Yeah, Michael Stout's got a horse called Moden. Probably needs to do something in the next start to sort of get up the list a little bit. Ed Dunlop, a horse called Red Cadeau, is already in the field. He's going for the Irish St Ledger, and then he's made comment that he'll see how he runs there, so he's a chance still to come.
Luca Kamani obviously still very serious as well about trying to get that elusive cup.
Yeah, Lucas, he's run second twice. He's got his main 2 horses, a horse called Managar that ran in the Cup last year, and Drunken Sailor. Missed out on the Cup last year, ran the Geelong Cup. I think this year Drunken Sailor has really improved a lot, and I think they'll really aim for the Caulfield Cup with the horse too, and then obviously go on for the Melbourne Cup, so I'm hoping Luca will figure prominently.
And of course German bred horses is here for the first time as well.
Yeah, as I said, the Australians seem to have fallen in love with the Germans. Illo, Bart Cummings and Lucas Cranach, Lee Friedman. German form are hard to line up, but they're winners, and really you've got to keep a good eye on them.
And great to see some other horses represented in some of the other races, feature races over the spring as well.
Yeah, well, John Moore's bringing a horse called Silver Grecian that will run the Rupert Clark and then ultimately the Emirates Stakes on final day. Bear Hero, a 3-year-old coming from Hong Kong, looking to run the Coolmore up against Sepoy. So I think that's the main aim, to try and get some other internationals in the other races, because the racing and the prize money is fantastic over the carnival.
Well, that was very impressive, and it appears once again the internationals are going to be here in full force. Nat, what were your thoughts after seeing that?
Do you know what? I think I'm going to go with Drunken Sailor, Nick. He had no luck last year, and I think that Luca Kamani would have to be getting close to a win with 2 close-up finishes in the Cup so far. But I am very interested to hear Edward's thoughts. You'd be a Kamani fan, wouldn't you?
Yeah, big fan of the Kamani stable now.
What is that, Francesca or Luca?
Yeah,
no, Luca, I'm serious here, Nick. Now, obviously their horses are so well prepared. You just have to go through their history, Bower, Purple Moon. They really set their horses for the Cup, whereas other European trainers tend to see the Cup as more of an afterthought. And so I think they'll be here in full force and very competitive as usual in the Caulfield and Melbourne Cups.
I thought Drunken Sailor was bitterly disappointed, not only in the Caulfield Cup last year, but his last start in England was disappointing. The one I'm looking forward to seeing from the Kamani stable is Managar. He's my watch runner at a bit of odds.
And of course, can't forget American if he does come out to defend his title. He was super impressive in the Geelong and Melbourne Cup last year, and he'd definitely be one to beat.
I hope you've enjoyed our first show. We'll, of course, be back next week, and there's lots to look forward to with some news segments, and we've even got a very special studio guest.
Well, that's the first episode of Chewing the Fat, thanks to our co-hosts Edward Sadler and Natalie Hunter. Be sure to join us again next week. In the meantime, make sure you go and add us on Friends' Facebook at Chewing the Fat Racing, and follow us on Twitter on Chewing the Fat Oz. So in the meantime, if you're having a bet, go to sportingbet.com.au, and we leave you with some footage that we've captured in the past week.
This program is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet.
This has been a Thorough Media production.